Right, it's time for some cookery now, and we've been joined by Yvonne Cobb in the kitchen. She's our first ever deaf cook we've had on the show. So you might have noticed that we've sat Pascal next to us, who'll be interpreting for Yvonne.
And we also have another interpreter in the studio called Sandy, who'll be signing throughout today's cook for you.
So, let me remember what we did before. So it's what are you cooking today?
Well done.
Well done. I'm going to be making chimichangas, and this is my mum's recipe, and back then she used to cook this for me and my boyfriend. He was very impressed. We're since married. We've been married for 30 years, so it's a lovely family favourite recipe, and I thought it was perfect to showcase for you today, and it's super simple to make.
OK, lovely. So where do we begin?
So I want to show you some signing. So firstly, I use the oil. Sign for oil.
Oil.
Just a splash in the pan, warm that up a little, and then add the chicken. And I just want to show you the two different signs for chicken. And that's a dead chicken.
Oh.
And this is chicken and a live chicken. So we probably won't be cooking a live chicken on live television.
That makes sense.
What sort of what sort of oil?
Olive oil. I've used olive oil.
And we can actually also point out. I'm doing this now, in case you think that we're being terribly rude.
Oh,
but,
yes.
this is your instruction, so that when you're cooking, if we want to get your attention, then we just go like this to get your attention.
Absolutely, yeah. It's just a nice little session in deaf awareness. You can tap your foot, you can tap on the ground. It definitely happens in my house quite a lot. I've got 3 grown-up children now, and they're all hearing, but they're bilingual. They can sign as well as use spoken English. Because they have deaf parents. And also, hi, Mum, this is your recipe. So also my mum's deaf too. But also, it's my twin's birthday today. So if you don't mind my just saying happy birthday to both of you, 19 today. A very special day for the family.
What's your twin called?
So Jovita.
Jovita.
And Fraser. And Fraser's actually over in Bali, so he won't be watching this morning, but we'll have to catch it on the
happy birthday to them.
There we go, technology these days. You may well be watching.
I wanted to ask you, because I read this morning and I was like, wow, I'd never thought about that or heard that, but I thought it was really interesting, and that for deaf people, it's not easy to access recipes. And I was trying... at first, I didn't understand why. So could you just explain that?
Of course, because sign language is very visual. It's a visual language, which means English has a very different structure to that of BSL. And lots of schools don't teach BSL, so lots of deaf children struggle to read.
Right.
So for deaf children, they would need to learn sign language first in order to then learn English. So if they're taught, so then they become bilingual, so they need to learn the languages in parallel. So I'm trying really hard to make sure there's more sign language presence on television and to ensure that I'm signing the recipes. So I've been very honoured over the last few years as, you know, young children and older deaf people are feeling more confident in the kitchen as a result of my cookery school classes.
So are there...
Let me just hold one moment and I'll just pop the seasoning in. There we go.
What's the sign for chilli? Is that paprika? Chilli or paprika?
That's paprika.
Yeah.
So, and we've got some all-purpose seasoning as well. So, yeah, but also just a reminder, if you're cooking this at home, you can use any seasoning that you have, any herbs, and it's perfect for leftovers as well. It's a lovely recipe. I often cook it on a Monday night. So it's the perfect leftover recipe, and I can season with some salt and pepper. And a little bit of a cheat is the sign... Oh, this is the sign for garlic. Garlic breath.
I like that garlic breath.
Yeah.
That's going to come in handy.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. So I'm using garlic puree. It's slightly lazy, but actually it's lovely because it gives the dish a bit of moisture.
And something that's really important to point out, obviously we're all thinking about the cost of living at the moment, and this is very economical, isn't it?
Absolutely, it's so cheap. It's only 40p per parcel.
Which is great.
So it's brilliant.
And it's delicious.
Yeah, do you like it? How are you finding the flavours?
It's beautiful.
Really good. I love that paprika flavour coming through.
Oh, good. It's lovely, isn't it?
So, potatoes?
Yep, so this is pre-cooked potatoes. So, in fact, if you have any leftover roast potatoes from the Sunday, dice them up. And also, we've got green pepper. But again, you can substitute any of these things. You could substitute in with butternut squash. You could use chorizo. You could use whatever particular flavours you like and whatever leftovers you have. So just mix this all up together. Looking good, smelling good. Now, I've popped the griddle pan on, so we'll let this warm up, add some oil. Oil, yes, very good. Using the same
well done. well done.
Remembered. So I've got these tortilla wraps, but actually a nice little bit of history about chimichanga. The history of them is that there happened to be a deep fat fryer and a burrito was accidentally dropped into it, so the chimichanga was born. So really it is a fried burrito.
Really?
Wow.
I didn't know that.
There we go, renamed. But Mum saw the recipe, 30 years ago. So this is where you can ask children to get involved to help you cook. I always overload them. Always overload them every time. I just want too much.
They are beautifully neat. They're beautifully neat.
Oh, thank you. And also, I've served, plated up for you today with salsa. So we've got tomatoes, herbs, dressing. So here we go. I'm going to wrap this.
I didn't even see that bit.
So I'm folding in the middle. Bring in the sides. There we go, nice and simple.
Like a little present. I didn't realise you were going to cook it because I said it's crispy on the side.
Exactly, yeah. So it was originally deep fried, but I'm doing it on the pan in the griddle. So it's nice and simple.
So whilst that's cooking, can I just ask you one, just continuing what we were talking about earlier on, about recipes and cookery books. So if you had a child who was interested in cooking and wanted to learn from a recipe book, do those exist? Would that be completely different to the ones that we would use?
Well, this is the thing. This is like sometimes when you're able to then have, say, a QR code, when I've tried to do that previously, and it's quite successful. So if you're able to do that, then you have the recipe in sign language. So I do think that deaf children need to have access to sign language, but also written English as well, so they can read a written English recipe. But this year has been an amazing year for the deaf community. So there are advances with Rose winning Strictly at Christmas, but also the BSL Act has now been passed. So we have had it recognised as a language, but there's still more work to be done to make everything accessible. But hopefully I'm here as a good role model for the deaf community.
Absolutely. And growing up for you, you always thought that you would never be doing this. You'd be never doing this on TV. There were so many things you couldn't achieve because you were deaf.
Absolutely. Yeah, and this is my dream come true, that I'm here. I am so proud. I'm so proud of being deaf. I am deaf. That is who I am. I'm third-generation deaf in my family. So for me, deafness is something that I embrace. And I always have people who come up to me to start, not sure how to interact with me as a deaf person, but it's OK. And it's OK for me to sign. It's OK for you to try to sign and make a mistake. That's all good too.
Because actually, that's a really good point. People don't know how to approach somebody who's deaf because you don't see it on screen. You don't necessarily have it registered. That's why this is so important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's an absolute privilege for me to be here with you, using sign language, using my language to present this. I'm really proud. And I do hope that it will inspire people to keep learning sign language. I just happen to be deaf.
Absolutely.
So here we go. I plated up.
It's so good.
No, and we've remembered our sign, Chimichanga.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So much.
With a little bit of sour cream is amazing
it's
too.
just so stunning. I've got the sour cream on there. I've got the chilli dip. Loving it. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you.